Hey everyone, it's Holly Marie King, and we are back with the Emblem Knights, the rough draft. I don't even remember where we left off, but because it's been so long. However, we're just going to jump right in and get started. So we are on chapter 4, Healing. Yuri went to Ray's room before going out for her morning jog. He was already awake and looking around. Is there anything you need? She asked him. His eyes darted to her at the sound of her voice. No. For now, I'd like to just lay here and listen, he said after a few moments of silence. So, listen to what? Yuri asked. Shh, he said, putting a finger to his lips. Listen, he whispered. The sound of the chirping birds reached her ears. You mean the sound of the birds? They always make those noises, Yuri answered. Ray eyed her again. He then pointed at a chair in the corner of the room. Sit, he ordered. I have to go for my job before breakfast starts, Yuri protested. You can be late for your job. Now, sit, Ray ordered a little more forcibly this time. Yuri said angrily and sat, but the music of the birds' voices relax you. It's a good way to calm your nerves, and it teaches you to relax at least every once in a while, he told her. Yuri looked over at him. Maybe I don't want to think or relax, she said, still crossing her arms. You can't run away from your past forever, Ray said with his eyes closed. What did Daisuke tell you about me? Yuri asked, her defenses going up all around her. Calm down. Whoa. Let's just say I knew someone who was so wound up in their past that the exhaustion from keeping his feelings locked up tight for so long made him go crazy. Eventually, if you don't let those feelings out, you'll betray everyone you love. Yuri looked at him as though he were crazy. That's just ridiculous. I don't know, this guy had a pretty good deal. His mom and dad were the richest people in his hometown, and he had the best girlfriend ever. All that happened to him was he had been tortured for not even an hour. But since he kept the experience locked up tight, he began to accuse everyone of his friends and family of going against him. Ray lifted his finger in the air and began to wiggle it around. Paranoia is your worst enemy. Whatever. Yuri got up and walked out of the room. I'm glad you're feeling better. She almost bumped into Daisuke in the hallway. He talks just like you, but a little more bluntly. He's 20, by the way, Daisuke said. And you know this because... Yuri asked. That's how I always remember how old I am. He and his twin brother could remember how old they were, so if I forgot how old I was, I could always ask them how old they were. Daisuke answered. Yuri opened her mouth and decided not to speak. I didn't ask, but okay. I'm going for my job, she said as she left him alone. She's quite the warrior, Ray said, as Daisuke entered the room. Yeah, well, she had the rejects of our training grounds to thank for that, Daisuke said in an unkind voice. I see, so they all decided to come here when things were too rough out there for those sissies, Ray said with a snort. She asked about the emblem on your chest last night, Daisuke said. Ray sat up with only a little pain showing on his face. What did you tell her? I told her I was too tired to answer her question and sat in my room for 20 minutes trying to figure out how long I should pretend to be napping. Daisuke answered, pacing in the room. She can't know. She already thinks all of us are scum, and I didn't want her thinking that of such a fine leader. Thanks. But so what if she thinks we're scum? If she can't accept that there are more than one type of Emblem Knight, then she's not a very good person. Ray said he had the poise of a parent telling his child why a friend is bad to have if they don't accept you. Respect you. I would have said respect. But I said accept because I was on the road. You don't understand, Ray, Daisuke said, still pacing. He gestured with his hands. First the Emblem Knights did those horrible things to her village, and now the guards that have replaced us were burning down her house yesterday. Plus, her parents would still have been alive if the guards hadn't have killed them. He stopped and turned to face Ray. So, you can understand that there was a very slim chance, without her getting to know you first, that she would trust you. Ray thought for a moment. I see your point. We'll wait for the right time to tell all of them, but for now, I'm bored. Daisuke chuckled. So how long do you bet you'll be stuck in the bed? I bet it'll take 3 days before I'm fully recovered, 2 before I can walk without staggering, and 1 before I can get out of this stupid bed. Ray gritted his teeth. I hate being injured, he growled. Though you are always the one to get hurt, Daisuke said with a laugh. I need to go get breakfast ready. I'll send Joey in to keep you company. Yuri stopped for a quick breather. She bent down, holding her dress against her knees. "Listen to the music of the birds," she heard Ray say in her head. "You can be weak around those that care about you," she heard Daisuke say. "Paranoia is your worst enemy." She shook her head. "The sound of the birds will help you relax." "Fine. At least there's no one here who will see me do this," Yuri said with a sigh. She sat down under a tree and listened to the birds. She relaxed her body and just eased into the music of the birds. After a couple seconds, all there was just her and the birds. All she could feel was peace, and all she thought of was their singing. Realizing she'd be late for breakfast if she waited too much longer, she sadly got up and began to jog again. Her body felt lighter than air. She made it back to the cottage faster than she usually did, and with a lot more energy. The next morning, Yuri walked into Ray's room quietly. "I was right, wasn't I?" he asked from his bed. "What makes you say that?" Yuri asked. She was beginning to think that Daisuke and Ray were both psychic. "Because you've avoided coming here until the next morning." Ray sat up with very little pain. "Do you just have a problem checking in on people or something?" "Well, me and my dad argued once, and I avoided him so much that the next time I saw him, he wouldn't wake up," Yuri said, sitting down. "If you must know." Ray looked as though he hadn't expected that. "Wow," he said, taking in a deep breath. "With the way everyone talked about you, I hadn't expected you to open up to me so quickly." I have. And since you are intertwined in the whole thing, it makes it easier just to talk to you about it," Yuri said, keeping her eyes off of Ray. "Besides, as you said, it helps to open up, right?" "How did it happen?" he asked, almost afraid to know the answer. "A man who said he was with the Emblem Knights came into our restaurant 2 years ago. My parents welcomed him happily, but when he wouldn't pay, they confronted him. I heard the sounds from my room, where I had sat still, not wanting to talk to my father about the day before." Yuri paused, fighting to keep herself together. "So, I went downstairs to go see what all the fuss was about. The first thing I saw was my father bleeding on the floor. He'd been stabbed in the stomach. The next thing I know, my mother's missing her head." Yuri paused, unable to hold back the tears anymore. "It's okay to cry. Losing your parents is a tough thing," Ray said soothingly as he sat on the edge of his bed and patted her knee. "Then he turned to my little brother, and I froze. There was no way I could save him in time, and all I knew was I couldn't just watch this man do the same thing he'd just done to my parents, to my brother. So, I jumped on his back from the stairs. It was all I could do but hold on. I was so scared, but I knew if I let go, I would die. And then he'd kill more innocent lives." Yuri looked at Ray with tears splashing down her face. She couldn't believe how easy it was to share her pain with him. "He finally was able to get me to the ground. That's when he took his sword and moved to kill me, just as he'd killed my father. But lucky for me, word had gotten out, and Daisuke came to save us." She smiled through her tears. "He was a mysterious stranger who had come to our village from a far-off land. No one really knew him that well, but he was nice enough. But I never thought he would save our lives. Since then, Daisuke has kind of been someone who we could lean on." "Well, now that you've told me this, you know what you should do?" Ray asked after a moment of silence. Yuri looked up at him. "Run, and run hard. It's good for you." Yuri nodded and left. Daisuke entered the room. Ray took a deep breath and breathed out. "I can't believe you broke the rules for a family you barely even know." Daisuke raised his eyebrow to this remark. His arms were crossed across his chest, and he leaned against the doorframe. "Oh, really? And how exactly did you get those cuts on you?" Ray chuckled. "Can't get much past you, can I?" "Sorry, I've known you for too long," Daisuke said. "Hey Ray, can I play another song for you today?" Joey asked. "Maybe later. Daisuke and I need to talk for a little bit," Ray said with a smile. "Okay, I'll talk to you after breakfast." "Oh yeah, Grandpa says not to worry about the breakfast because he's cooking today," Joey told Daisuke. "Alright, thanks," Daisuke said, bowing his head to the boy. Ray stood when Joey left. "One thing's for sure, you picked one great family to save." "I know I did, but I wish I could do more," Daisuke said, shaking his head in dismay. "I know there was only so much I could do, but if I had heard sooner, Yuri wouldn't be the way she is now, and I wouldn't be endangering them as we speak." "Shoulda, coulda, woulda," Ray said from his position. He stood on both of his legs, but his hands rested on the back of the chair in his room. He leaned into it. "I hate being dizzy." It means I'm stuck in bed longer than I thought it would be. Alright, we are all done with chapter 4. Next time we'll be on chapter 5, The Emblem Knight Appears. And as always, I will put the book for the final draft, or the link for the final draft in the description below if you're interested in the book at all. It's actually a lot different from the rough draft. I'm pretty happy how it turned out. It's like 10 times better than Not a Dream, I personally say, but I guess I'm biased. But yeah, anyway, it looks like that's all we're going to do for today. So hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye!